Hey everyone, welcome back to the Investors Corner podcast. I'm Steve Olson. I want to talk about one of the newer markets that we're expanding into today, which is Savannah, Georgia, and why I think it makes a lot of sense for residential investors looking ahead to 2026 and beyond. So first, what are we actually doing in Savannah? Well, we're partnered with a local builder because, Peak's roots, we go back to being a real estate investment trust and had a lot of great relationships with builders, especially throughout the Southeast. So we'll be building single-family rental homes, and Peak will be handling the property management. And so the idea here is pretty simple. Brand new homes built specifically to be rentals in a market where people genuinely want to live. Savannah's cool. So why Savannah beyond it just being cool? But first, we've got the port. It has one of the most important shipping ports in the country, and it keeps getting bigger. When you see long-term investment in infrastructure like that, it usually means jobs, supporting businesses, and steady housing demand for years to come. That matters a lot when you're thinking long-term as an investor. Second, it's not a one-trick economy. Savannah has logistics, tourism, healthcare, education, a mix of things that help smooth out demand, which we love. We like markets where housing demand isn't just tied to one employer or one industry. Third, single-family rentals fit how people live here. A lot of renters in Savannah don't want to live in an apartment forever. They want a yard, a garage, a place that feels like home, but they're not ready to buy, or they're relocating, or they just prefer renting. There's a lot of people these days. That's where new single-family rentals really work. And finally, new construction plus peak management. New homes usually mean fewer surprises early on, fewer big repairs, and better resident satisfaction. And when you pair that with solid property management, good leasing, fast maintenance response, strong renewals, you end up with a much smoother ownership experience. And that's why people come to new construction for single-family rentals. So the short version, Savannah has real economic drivers, real renter demand, and we like it even more when we can build, control, and the quality of the management. So that's our first market. Look for more details on that soon. But let's talk about another market you've already been hearing about us from. And this is another one where we've got a great JV. We've got all the pieces on the ground because we just love to be able to offer lots of options to the investors, but still be able to control those options. And that's Nashville. So Nashville, Tennessee makes sense in 2026 and beyond, right? We love Nashville. And so it's a strong residential investment market. We even believe it's a strong commercial flex market, which is what we do, but we're going to focus on Nashville here for just a minute. We're partnered with a local builder there that builds Class A townhomes, and people keep moving to Nashville. It was, of course, one of the COVID darlings. There were a number of those like Phoenix and Dallas and the Florida markets and the mountain markets. Nashville was definitely one of them. It's those metros that just keeps attracting new residents even without COVID. People keep moving there, and that's demand for housing. So jobs and income matter. It's got a diverse job base. It's got ongoing job growth. That's important because renters need stable income in markets with stable employment. They hold up better over time. And third, townhomes are kind of a sweet spot in Nashville. It's not the only thing that we'll offer in the future. Right now, it's what we do. They work really well for young professionals, small families, people relocating for work, renters who want something nicer than an apartment but don't want to have the responsibility of a big single-family home. From an investor standpoint, it usually means a solid renter profile and good long-term demand. And again, new construction is always a plus. Local management, always a plus. Newer homes mean lower maintenance early on, fewer capital surprises, and happier tenants. And having boots on the ground management matters more than almost anything else once a property is operating. So what's the takeaway here? Nashville still has strong fundamentals. I think that a lot of people feel like demand was pulled forward in Nashville and a lot of these Sunbelt markets during COVID, and that's certainly true. So I wouldn't expect a lot of drastic rental increases there, but it's a market that's going to chug along for a little while as demand and supply catch up and get new equilibrium. So we like those fundamentals. We're targeting high quality product that lines up with how people actually want to live. So let's get to the last one. Got a solid joint venture in Indiana. We love that market. I used to live there, and we're working specifically on duplexes and fourplexes in Indiana. So let's talk a little bit about it because I'm kind of talking about the entire state Indiana, of course, has Indianapolis, the biggest market. Fort Wayne, we're doing a lot there. That's the second biggest market in Indiana. These are all places we're keeping an eye on and working with. And we've got a local builder, property management team. I myself am one of the principals in many of the Indiana deals that we're doing. So why Indiana? First, the numbers still work. It's one of the places where you can still buy residential properties, including small multifamily, at prices where cash flow is actually achievable with conservative assumptions. That's getting really hard to do in a lot of different markets. Second, Indiana's a steady market. It's not a hype market. I joke, no offense to my Hoosier buddies out there, it's a boring market. But you know what? When you're just looking for a steady return, that's exactly what you want. It doesn't make a lot of headlines, and that's part of the appeal. We want markets that are stable, predictable, supported by real jobs, real people, and not speculation. Another one, population and household growth still matter. The main Indiana metros, they continue to see population and household growth, and ultimately that drives rental demand. It's not explosive growth, but it's consistent, and consistency is underrated. Fourth, why duplexes and fourplexes in Indiana are so attractive. Small multifamily can be a great middle ground. You spread risk across multiple units. One vacancy doesn't kill your income. Per unit expenses are a lot more efficient, and they tend to fit into naturally existing neighborhoods a little bit better. In a lot of Midwest market, renters actually prefer this type of housing over large apartment complexes. They want some of that apartment living, the convenience, the amenities, but they want some of that convenience and feel of living in a single family home. And so when we build these townhouse style duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes, it's very appealing. I should add also a big underrated point of investing in duplexes, triplexes, and quads is the financing, right? If you've ever done a large commercial deal, you know that financing can be a bit of a pain in the butt. There's a lot of stress in the capital markets right now because commercial financing requires debt covenants and measurements, and you got to check in with your lender. Even though your property might be doing okay, if it falls out of balance with the lender, you've got a problem. You might need to put some money in the deal, right? But on single family homes, sometimes investors want to scale, which is tough on single family. I think it's a great jumping off point, but it can be tough. And so the best point to duplexes, triplexes, and quads is you get both of the best, right? You get that diversity that comes from multifamily investing, but you get the financing of single family investing. I know a lot of fourplex investors over the last 3 years that while the capital markets have been stressed, multifamily deals have been stressed, they to a point have been blissfully unaware of this because that 30-year fixed rate debt that comes with a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex, as long as you're making the payment, nobody's asking any questions. So we love that. So finally, management can make or break these deals. Indiana rewards good operators. Strong leasing, fast turns, disciplined maintenance, they make a huge difference. And that's why we focus so much on partnering with experienced local teams. Our management team in Indianapolis manages over 2,000 units spread out over the state. They know what they're doing. So what's the bottom line? It's a market where discipline, pricing, operations, they can still produce really solid long-term results, especially for small residential and small multifamily investors. And you're looking at one of them. I own properties in Indiana right now. So in short, more single family deals. For those of you that want to use single family as that jumping off point and getting into investing in a fantastic market, Savannah, be in touch with us. Those deals are coming soon. And then we've got the great options of townhomes in Nashville, Tennessee, and duplexes, triplexes, and quads throughout Indiana. All of these deals are cash flow positive, which is a difficult thing to do in this market. We look forward to hearing from you. Reach out to us. We'll talk to you again soon.